All signs point to this as we discuss the Chicago Bears left tackle competition. What does this mean going forward into the regular season? Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining yet again. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. It looks like 67.5% of you have not done so. So please do that to keep up on up-to-date news and rumors as we get into the regular season. So today we are covering the left tackle competition for the Chicago Bears. What does this mean going forward? Who's the leader in the clubhouse? How important is this going forward for the Chicago Bears as well? First thing I want to note is this left tackle competition has been going on with Ozzy Trapillo and Braxton Jones. So starting with Ozzy Trapillo, round 2 draft pick rookie this year. He was drafted in the second round. He does have some good traits to him. This regime, Ben Johnson, Dan Ruchar, everybody included in this new staff, did feel like Ozzy kind of fit their build and what they wanted, and they kind of utilized him as an insurance option and potential starter here going forward, not knowing Braxton Jones' injury status and going forward as he gets into his contract year. So Ozzy Trapillo is in that competition as well. It looks like it is a 2-horse race between him and Braxton Jones. Braxton Jones himself has been a stalwart starter for the Chicago Bears the last 4 years, and he's been doing pretty well overall, has had his moments. Obviously, he is a later round draft pick, and Ryan Poles, I believe, took him in his first draft. I think that was his first draft, and he took Braxton Jones. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong there. But he's been pretty good for a late-round pick. He does have traits as well, and his grades have been, pretty steady throughout for all the different quarterbacks and offensive line combinations that we have had. However, he does struggle in some areas like that anchoring against the bull rush, against edge rushers, and some different technique things, which these coaches have been transparent and have called out in the past as well. And that's something that Ozzy is a lot better at. He's a lot bigger of a man than Braxton Jones is overall in stature, and he does kind of anchor in his pass sets very well. He was very good at Boston College in doing so, and I think that Ben Johnson and staff really do want a great pass protecting left tackle at that spot. So as we get into the competition, who the leaders are, what our predictions are, I want to discuss how important this is going forward. We really need a left tackle solution here. Everybody else on the offensive line is pretty much set in stone. We have Joe Thuney, we have Drew Dahlman, we have Jonah Jackson, and we have Darnell Wright on the right side at right tackle. We need that left tackle figured out. One, because it is very important for this offensive line to mesh, and is going to take them some time to mesh together throughout the season and fully become one unit. It does not happen overnight. Ben Johnson and co. have stated it time and time again. It does not happen overnight in terms of building a good offensive line that does play in sync and play together. You see a lot of penalties, sloppiness, missed assignments, and things like that happen early on. That is by design. So overall, we want this offensive line to be together. We want all the starters in, who we think that's going to be. We want that as soon as possible so they can get the reps, they can get the work together, and they can figure this out before the regular season happens. You don't want to get here week 1 before you play the Vikings and you're still kind of up in the air on who you want to start. So overall, this is very important to get this figured out. We want the best offensive line possible for Caleb Williams and this offense. This is what makes the scheme go. This is what helps the run game. This is what helps the play action. Cleaner pocket for Caleb, take less sacks, allow him to maybe give him maybe just 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 seconds more of progression time and going through his reads here and there, and that is going to help out tremendously as he grows into this Ben Johnson offense in this Ben Johnson system. So going off of that, we have a report here, or a statement from Courtney Cronin, ESPN insider for the Chicago Bears. and what she thinks about the left tackle competition. I honestly think it will be Ozzy Trapillo. I think the upside with Trapillo is how clean he plays the game. The Bears look at that very heavily, and it bodes well for him, and the trust it requires to play the left tackle position in the NFL. It is a two-person race between Ozzy and Braxton Jones, but I'd give the edge to Ozzy right now. So going back to Ozzy, he's kind of got the lead from what we've seen and what we've heard from Ruchar as well in different press conferences and different statements from the coaching staff. It looks like Ozzy is in the lead right now. Obviously, that can change based off of the preseason performance we saw on Sunday against the Dolphins. Braxton Jones kind of got blown by on that swipe pass rusher move. He was completely left in the dust. I don't even remember who the edge rusher was. And I'm sure he doesn't either. It was not a good rep. He had some bad looks here and there. But overall, Ozzy didn't play that great either. Both of them were a little bit, I guess, in over their skis on that game. No idea why. Obviously, it is going to take some time and things like that. But they were a little bit rusty, you could say, overall. So Courtney Cronin thinks, her prediction as an ESPN insider for the Bears specifically, she's always done an amazing job, and she knows her details and she knows her stuff. She mentioned that Ozzy Trapillo is in the lead, so we'll see how that goes. I honestly think it will be Braxton Jones. I think they're going to rely on that previous experience from him. So as long as his injury history kind of stays up and things like that, I think he will be the starter. However, he has not looked great, and I'm not confident with that and how he will play. I just think that's the decision that they're going to go down. So it is important kind of going forward, especially the starters are now playing this Sunday against the Bills, as Ben Johnson stated this morning. And then heading into training camp, it looked like they were kind of rotating in Ozzy, Braxton, Theo Benedette as well at the left tackle spot and kind of just giving everybody reps today. I don't think today was an indicator at all of who's in the lead right now, just in today's practice. We will get more information in the Bills joint practice on Friday and in the preseason game on Sunday night. I think that's going to be a huge telltale sign. My prediction is next week at this time, you're going to have a solidified offensive line and who the starter is. Let me know down below in the comments who you guys want to be the starter at left tackle. What do you guys envision happening or what decision that they make there? But overall, this is a big topic of conversation because it is very important for this team to get this figured out before we enter, that off period after that last preseason game into week 1. So just a couple notes on Ozzy Trapillo. Just coming out of the draft this year, this is kind of his prospect grading scale. He was at a 6.31, will eventually be plus starter. This is a good grade that NFL folks give out before the draft. For a second-round pick, I think that's right where you should be, and I think that is great. They did label him as the most pro-ready pass protector in the draft. So that's very important as well, just to get that, and I think that's a big leg up for Ozzy. And what Courtney Cronin said with those penalties, he just didn't have much in college, and that is kind of paramount. That's something that you want. You want somebody to be disciplined, not go backwards. We know how much Ben Johnson absolutely hates when the team is going backwards for no reason, and the pre-snap penalties, post-snap penalties, and everything like that. Now, getting into Braxton Jones, this was last year's PFF grades before he went down with the injury. So pretty solid all around. He's kind of the definition of an average tackle. And honestly, that's not that bad, right? You can take that as long as he has a good supporting cast around him on the offensive line. Joe Thuney being right next to him at the left guard spot is, amazing as well. And I think that will help out whoever is at left tackle. But Braxton Jones actually has numbers on the board. He has a resume, and he has kind of proven himself in what he is in this league. So that's just what leads me to believe that he will be the week 1 starter. And it's a lot easier to put in Braxton Jones as the week 1 starter. And then if something happens down the road, like he gets injured, Braxton isn't quite good enough. He's not performing the way they thought he should. Then you can bring in the rook, Ozzy, and he has some games under his belt in terms of maybe rotating in at swing tackle, just getting some live reps, watching the game and seeing what Braxton is doing, and everything like that, and then kind of bringing him in later on. It's usually easier to do that, bringing in a rookie, but starting with your veteran first, and then making that decision later on, like, hey, Braxton, we're going to move on. This ultimately probably means we're not going to pay him next year in the offseason, and then you kind of just get into that rookie and allow him to start and go off from there. So my official prediction is Braxton Jones as the starter. What do you guys think down below? I would love to know what you guys think, what you guys want at that left tackle spot. But this is a huge topic of conversation that I feel like not enough people are talking about with this team. So all signs, I would say, are pointing towards Ozzy. That is not my prediction. So let me know what you guys think down below. We will be here with updates as this week progresses into the big joint practice with the Bills and the big preseason game with starters, including Caleb Williams playing on Sunday night. Super excited for that. If you guys are, please subscribe, turn those noties on, and we'll be back soon.